Hey guys, it's Adam. And if you're running your interior design business mostly on your own and it feels harder than it should be, this is usually why. It's not your talent, it's not your taste, and it's not that you're bad at business. It's because you're missing a few non-negotiables. So, coming up are 5 non-negotiables that you need in place to run a successful interior design business as a solopreneur. Miss even one of them, and the business starts leaking time, money, and energy. So let's start with the most important one. Non-negotiable number 1 is your contract. It's your business blueprint. Your contract is not just a formality, it really is a blueprint for how your entire business runs. Almost every issue designers complain about later, scope creep, payment stress, install chaos, awkward client conversations, can be traced back to that contract, and it didn't really do its job. If you offer a full service or turnkey project, your contract must clearly cover 3 things. So first is your workflow. There's got to be clear stages and there's got to be clear responsibilities. There really has to be no grey area here. So in my business, I've got a very defined design process, and clients need to understand this before we work together. I'm only going to see the client twice before I present a full service design proposal. The first time is a consultation. So this is where I take a laser focused brief. So we work through how the client lives, what they like, what they don't like, and how the space needs to function, what's not working, that type of thing, and what success really looks like to them once we've redesigned and recreated this home. So the second time is what I call a site discovery day. And that's when I return to the home to measure, photograph, and properly understand the space. I'll meet with trades if required and discuss what's possible and what isn't possible. And my constraints will then shape that design. And that's it. And after that, I workshop that design offline. I don't drip feed ideas. I don't come back for multiple meetings. And I'm not constantly floating concepts with the client during the design phase. The client doesn't see the work until I'm ready to present a resolved proposal to them. And that could be a few weeks later. So that is intentional. It allows me to design properly without interruption, and it gives the client clarity and confidence when they see the final concept. So all of this is explained up front, and it's written in the contract. Because if a client expects to be involved in shopping trips, ongoing collaboration during the design process, or regular check-ins during the design phase that are above and beyond my weekly emails that I send them just for updates, we are not aligned. And in that case, I won't work with them on a full service project or a turnkey project, I call it. That's not part of the working agreement for that service. So this is exactly why your workflow needs to be documented. So it's not to just control the client, but it's protecting the integrity of how you work and how you work well, and to make sure both sides know what they're signing up for. Absolutely. So before we go any further, I just want you to have a think about all of this. And I want to ask you, do you have a contract right now that you genuinely feel ticks all of those boxes? Or have you had situations where you felt the pressure to add more in, you've bent the rules halfway through a project, or you've realized far too late in the game that something really obvious was never actually written down or discussed properly? Because that's usually where problems start. It's not that we've got, bad clients, too demanding clients, or they're being unreasonable. It's not that at all. But it's really around our unclear agreements. And that really normally starts and ends with us. So if you've had a contract issue or a moment where you thought, I should have really covered this properly before, leave a comment below. I read all the comments and I'll respond to you. It really helps others too. Other designers realize that they're not the only ones dealing with this type of problem. So leave a comment below. Let me hear what you're thinking about or what's happened for you. So the second thing in the contract, pricing and payment terms. Your contract must clearly state what's included and what's not included and when payments due. So in my business, full service projects are paid 100% upfront. So I'm not being aggressive here. I'm just being logical. The responsibility, the time commitment, and the financial exposure begin immediately for me as a business owner. So payment needs to match that reality. Clear payment terms remove tension. They don't create tension. So the third is installation expectations. For full service projects, my clients must agree to leave the house, usually for about 5 days. And this is mandatory. So why is that? Because I can't honestly deliver a full turnkey result, which involves the installation, styling, decorating, photography, and final reveal, a wonderful finished outcome, a clean home, everything in place, if the clients are living in the space while I'm trying to do this. So I don't ask clients if they would consider this, please. I don't do that at all. I explain why it's required. That boundary allows me to install properly, style and decorate without interruption. Keep them out of any drama that's happening during this process. Photograph the finished home. This is really important. Clean, reset, deliver a true wow reveal. So if something's essential to your process, it belongs in your contract and it must be explained clearly. Non-negotiable number 2 is clarity between full service and DIY services. So confusion is one of the fastest ways to create problems in a design business. If you offer both full service, like I do, and a more limited DIY or say an advisory consultative service, the differences must be unmistakable. So full service means, or it should mean, that you lead, you manage the project, you control the outcome. DIY or advisory services mean there is limited scope here. There are defined deliverables. No assumption of ongoing involvement here from us or from you. Problems really arise when clients believe that they're getting a full service, or they should be getting full service attention on a DIY level fee. So that's, again, it's not a client problem, that's a clarity problem. Being clear doesn't limit clients, it just helps them choose the right level of support, and it protects you from resentment later on. Non-negotiable number 3, communication is a system, not a mood. Most service providers are terrible communicators. Let's just put it out there. Unfortunately, designers are no exception. If a client ever has to ask you what's happening next or where are we up to, something's definitely missing. In my business, I email clients every Friday. So whether it's the design phase or it's the implementation phase, it doesn't actually matter. If the update's short, that's fine. They're always knowing what's being done or what's coming up next, where things are tracking. And this just removes anxiety from the client side. It builds trust and it stops clients ever chasing you. Exceptional communication costs nothing and instantly elevates your business. Non-negotiable number 4, review projects like a business owner. At the end of every project, I review it, not emotionally, commercially. I look at a few things: final costs, unforeseen expenses that have happened, scope changes, time overruns, and that final profit margin. And if I've dropped down below my target margin, which is normally around 30%, I want to know why. Was it my hourly rate? Is it now too low? Was my management fee underpriced? Did custom pieces require more oversight or more time than I charged for, in terms of me needing to go back and forth? Nothing's off limits here. And this is how you improve quietly, project by project, instead of repeating the same mistakes, wondering why nothing changes, and especially profit-wise, why nothing's changing. Non-negotiable number 5, refine, don't reinvent. So once you've reviewed the project, the job isn't finished. If something didn't work, pricing, scope, timing, or energy, adjust it for the next one. So that might mean increasing those fees, not just thinking about it or recognizing it, but actually increasing, tightening those boundaries, removing draining services, adjusting the timeframes. So it isn't about reinventing your business every time. It's about making those small, deliberate refinements that compound. So that's how a solopreneur business stays profitable and enjoyable. We must then take action after review. So if you're watching this and thinking, I can see exactly where my business is tightening, I just don't know how to structure it properly, well, I'd love to help you. You can jump on a call with me. You can email directly to make that happen at askadam@turnkeydesign.success.com. So no pressure, no pitch, just a conversation about how I may be able to help you further and give you some advice. So one thing I want to let you know, that running a successful interior design business isn't about doing more. It's about doing the non-negotiables clearly and consistently. And remember, you're not behind, you're building. So if you like this video, subscribe, like, and absolutely leave me a comment below, and I'll see you in the next one.